Happy late Wednesday night, everybody. We are wrapping up the first half of the baseball season, and it is time to talk a lot more craziness around the world of baseball. So kick back, relax, because it is past 10 and hitting home starts right now. And welcome everybody back into Hitting Home, only here on 609 Sports Talk Radio, coming to you guys live tonight with all the latest and the greatest around the world of baseball. And as always, we are your hosts, Sam Nelson, Dustin Reese. Dustin, happy Wednesday. How we doing tonight?
Hey, the Chicago Cubs have been a franchise for 130 some years, and I got to witness history tonight, so good.
Very nice, very nice. So, we got a jam-packed show. We will attempt to get our revenge on that damn grid once again, because that thing loves to torture us. We got some umpire news later on in the show as well. We'll talk about that. Of course, the All-Star Game rosters have been finalized. We will give our thoughts on them. I have some problems, hence the shirt I'm wearing. I have some issues. But to kick off the show tonight, I thought it'd be a fun little topic to talk about starting pitchers. There's a lot of good ones. But
Yeah, there is.
with as dominant as Jacob Mizorowski and Kyle Harrison have been, and as awesome as Christopher Sanchez and Zach Wheeler have been, I decided to take some of the best duos of starting pitchers this year. We'll call them the 1-2 punches. And I decided to put a nice poll together. Who has had the best 1-2 punch so far in 2026? Now, mind you, I had to be very specific with this. All these teams are in a playoff position. They are contending for a postseason spot. And I didn't just throw out two names. So I'll just be real. Unfortunately, Chris Sale is not on. The Braves are not on this list because the Braves do not have a second starting pitcher that I could put up there with Chris Sale. Everyone else is hurt, so they did not qualify to this. So that's just to get that out of the way. So these were very. It took a little bit to put this together, but I think I got the cream of the crop here. So, who has been the best 1-2 punch in 2026? Jacob Mizorowski and Kyle Harrison, Zach Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez, Shane McClanahan and Rasmussen for Tampa Bay, Cam Schlittler and Will Warren for the Yankees, Messick and Gavin Williams for the Guardians, Max Meyer and Sandy Alcantara for the Marlins, Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers, or has it been Logan Gilbert and Bryce Miller for the Seattle Mariners? Dustin, who is your best 1-2 punch so far in 2026?
I got to Mizorowski. Done.
We may be having some little technical difficulties with Dustin. He is right now.
Being Freddie Peralta in New York and a bunch of other young guys. The Brewers have
Fair enough. Fair enough. And look, they've both been amazing. They've both been unhittable. I mean, Zarowski's throwing pitches out like 107, 108 miles an hour now. Harrison has been. Yeah, George had we had a little bit of a technical glitch there, so we should be all good now. But yeah, no, Mizorowski and Harrison have been good. Now I'm a homer. I went with my guys. I went with Zach Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez. If you look at Christopher Sanchez, now I know he's had a little bit of the little issue lately. He's had a couple rough starts. Had a really, really, really rough start in KC
Yep.
the other day. But if you see what he's done with the scoreless inning streak and all the dominance he's shown, and what Zach Wheeler's done since coming back from his situation has been, I mean, just last night, I mean, my God, 7 innings, 14 strikeouts.
Can I just say something on Zach Wheeler really quick before you continue your thought?
Shoot.
Voting needs to be taken out of the All-Star game because to have Zach Wheeler off this All-Star team is a joke.
Oh, George, did he? Speaking of which, we have some umpire news to talk about later on as well. Yeah, Dustin is definitely having some technical issues. He's getting booted from my studio, guys. We're having some technical issues here tonight.
Did it let me back in now?
Yes. There's two
Okay.
screens on my thing, but hold
Oh,
on.
nice.
There we go. Okay, now we're good.
Okay, what I was saying is this is why fan voting needs to be taken away from the All-Star game because to keep Zach Wheeler off of this All-Star team is a freaking travesty.
Yes. Especially, I'm okay with the first time, but and no disrespect, but to put Jesus Luzardo in
Yeah.
over him,
Yeah,
come on.
and yeah, I mean even some of these other pitchers that are getting in over him, they're basically punishing him for being hurt the first 5 weeks of the season because of the injury that he had last year, yada yada yada. But since he's come back from that injury, he's been a top two pitcher in Major League Baseball, and you can't tell me that his numbers, when you stack them up against everybody else, are not all-star worthy.
Yeah, no, they are. They absolutely are. And it's the fact that again, I'm okay with the initial time because of him missing the time early. I'm not okay with him not getting in over another one of his teammates. That I'm not okay with. And I'm not trying to disrespect Jesus Luzardo. Luzardo's been fine, but he's not been better than Zach Wheeler. I can't understand why we took that into consideration while putting this stuff together. Because Zach Wheeler has been as dominant before he got hurt. You could probably make the case he's been almost more dominant than he was before this whole thing happened. Because last night I saw him make his best start. In my opinion, it may be one of his top three starts as a Philly.
Yeah, easily.
And the fact that's I think that was him last night having his moment saying, "Okay, I'm not an all-star. Well, watch this, kids." Because he took a whole bunch of frustration out on the Cincinnati Reds. Of
Yeah,
course,
like that start yesterday. reminds me of when Noah Syndergaard was with the Mets. When he came into that rotation with Matt Harvey and Jacob deGrom, and everybody was talking up Matt Harvey and talking up Jacob deGrom, and all of a sudden Noah Syndergaard's like, "Here, kids, hold my beer, watch what I can do."
Yeah, dude, those Mets rotations should have been so much better. Like, yeah, I mean, again, it's just, and Wheeler was a part of those too. He came up later on. But yeah, I don't understand.
Yep.
I don't understand the whole thing of him missing that time early on is the reason why he's not an all-star. I think it's absolutely ridiculous because I don't understand how I mean we're having guys sit out the all-star game and we can't just replace one of them with Zach Wheeler. Like we have to continue to I mean, no offense, we're kind of like we're reaching at this point. I agree with what you said about fan voting because we're kind of reaching at this point when we're with this stuff because not to be disrespectful, when was Jesus Luzardo even on the ballot for this stuff?
And a prime example of why I think fans need to get out of the whole voting for people is what happened with Pete Crow Armstrong this year. He had that 2 week stretch where he got into it with a fan at the White Sox game. Then he had two horrific plays in the outfield that led to like two inside the park home runs in the same week. So like he had a horrible week defensively to go along with all that crap that happened in that one game. Since
Yeah,
then, he's been like the best hitter in baseball. He just became the first Cub since Sammy Sosa to have back-to-back 2020 seasons by the All-Star break. And you look at how long the Cubs have been a franchise, how many good players have come through that organization to have only Sammy Sosa and Pete Crow Armstrong as the only two players to be 2020 guys by the All-Star break is nuts. And he wasn't even voted as starter. He got added as a last-minute add-on this week because fans don't like the way he acts.
like because some athletes have some ego to them. They fans don't like them. Okay, that's fine.
Like, there's a lot of athletes that I don't like, but if they're putting up good numbers, I'm not going to be like, well, I don't like him, so I'm not going to vote him into the All-Star game. He's got the numbers to be there. He should be there.
Agreed. So just to run through the poll question real quick, Mizorowski and Harrison did lead with 42% of the vote. Wheeler and Sanchez I came in second at 27%. 3% went for McClanahan and Rasmussen from Tampa Bay. 10% gave it to Cam Schlittler and Will Warren. 1% for Parker Messick and Gavin Williams. 1% for Sandy Alcantara and Max Meyer. Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto got 12%. And we have 1 more percent for Logan Gilbert and Bryce Miller.
And I think the biggest reason why I think a lot of the people are favoring the Brewers as the number one answer to that poll question is I think Kyle Harrison is the reason why. I think a lot of people maybe did not expect Mezarowski to be as good as he is this year, but you saw the potential in Mezarowski last year versus Kyle Harrison was a nobody until this year.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy getting bounced around from the Giants to the Red Sox. And yeah, I think that's the other reason. Like, as Philly fans, we expect this from Christopher Sanchez. We expect this from Zach
Yep.
Wheeler. I don't think anybody
Yep.
like you said with Mizorowski, we saw the flashes. I don't think anybody saw this coming from Kyle Harrison.
No. And a lot of people actually laughed at the Brewers for making that trade because they're like, why would you trade an up and coming third baseman for a starting pitcher that nobody wants? Well, guess what? The Brewers know a lot more than we do, apparently, because they definitely won that trade so far.
Yeah, pretty much. And fighting Philly. Harrison, basically a throw in for a trade for one of the worst hitters in baseball.
two of the worst hitters because you added Andrew Monasterio in that deal too.
You gotta love baseball where a guy can be a pitching prospect that no one expects anything much more out of, and then he goes to the Brewers and he's probably going to be at least in the Cy Young voting. He won't be a finalist, but he'll be in the voting. But now I don't want to take away from the other candidates on this poll question because you go to Tampa Bay. I don't think anyone expected Tampa Bay to be as good as they've been this year. And Shane McClanahan being healthy has been a big boost to that rotation.
That's the key. That's the key because you got to remember before he got hurt. I'm going to make a statement now. Before he got hurt, he was the best pitcher in baseball.
I don't disagree.
Like he was 98 consistently, probably the nastiest slider you could have from the left side. He had a great changeup, and then I think he had 20 starts the year that he got hurt with Tampa, and his ERA was like a 1.6 before he got hurt, and then he just could never stay healthy after that until this year. And now that he's healthy again, you're seeing the McClanahan that you saw 3-4 years ago before he got hurt.
Yeah, and Drew Rasmussen's been really good for them too. Like those have been the two guys at the top of that rotation that have really, really done a big number for that rotation and why they've been able to maintain their AL East lead through this first half.
And just imagine if they still had Taj Bradley.
Josh Bradley's another one.
He'd be their number 3 in that rotation if they still had him.
He would be. And of course we know Tampa, they never are short on pitching. Yeah, fighting for Nick Martinez has got does he have 11 wins for them or something?
Yeah, Nick Martinez is 11-4. His ERA is I think a 4.20 or 4.30, but he's only going 5 innings. So if you give up 2 runs, 3 runs in 5 innings, your ERA is not going to look great, but he's getting the job done.
Yeah, when I did this poll question, I went with the stereotypical. If you were going to start a postseason series, who would be 1, who would be 2? It would be Rasmussen and McClanahan.
I honestly think the Rays might go Martinez number 2 just because of his playoff experience.
Yeah, you wouldn't be wrong about that. Tampa Bay has some sick SOBs to do something like that.
Because McClanahan has never pitched a postseason game, I don't think. Because his good year that he had, he got hurt before the Rays made the playoffs. They didn't make it the next year when he was rehabbing. And then the next time the Rays made the playoffs, I don't think he pitched. If he did, he only pitched 1 game versus Nick Martinez has 5 or 6 playoff starts under his belt.
Something along that line, yeah.
So you probably would actually go Rasmussen to Martinez to McClanahan in the playoffs.
I don't hate that idea. And now we'll stay in that division and we'll go over to the AL East still with the Yankees. I mean, their 1-2 punch, probably 2 names you didn't expect to hear with the amount of money they have tied up in that rotation. But, Cam Schlittler has been absolutely amazing through the first half of the season.
Yep.
I mean, you look at the numbers, 9-5, 2.01 ERA, 112 innings, 131 strikeouts, whip under 1. He's easily been the ace of a staff that has a lot of veterans. The problem is Rodon out again with an elbow issue. Garrett Cole just coming back, still working his way back to being 100% back in pitching mode. Max Fried still out with the elbow issue. So the only other number 2 I could think would be Will Warren. I mean, Warren hasn't been bad. He's 7-4. ERA is a little high, 4.15, but he's been pretty damn solid for them this year.
He has, and you look at where the Yankees are as a team right now. You look at where they are as a staff. It just makes you wonder if Garrett Cole had been healthy all year this year. If Carlos Rodon had been healthy all year this year, we'll even throw a Gil in there, or Gil, whatever his last name is. If he would be on that team this year, that Yankees rotation would probably be the deepest in baseball, 1 through 5.
Well, yeah. Remember when we were talking about them when earlier this season? We said they have the depth where they could trade out of that rotation to get a
Yeah.
bat if they needed to.
Yep.
So, I mean, yeah, the fact that, and again, yeah, the fact that they're still fighting with this amount of injuries. I mean, it's not just Luis Gill and Clark Schmidt. It's their three big money guys. It's Cole, it's
Yep.
Fried, it's Rodon, and they're still kind of hanging above water. You know, they're still doing decently. Cam Schlittler's a big reason because of that. Will Warren has done decent. Like I said, he's had a couple rough starts. He just had a rough start against Tampa, but I mean, right now, there are other starting pitchers that are healthy are Ryan Weathers.
Yeah. And he's actually
I
pitched
mean,
pretty well too at times.
yeah, he's had his moments. But I mean, outside of that, they're a team that we thought had so much starting pitching depth. They really are. They're pulling the cover back to try to find some quality arms right now.
Well, I mean, just look at how it lays out though. Like most starting staffs, if you stay healthy 1 through 5 and don't have any injuries, most starting staffs you're looking at between 700 and 750 innings from your starting rotation. It's about 150 innings per starter, basically, give or take. Just with Fried, Rodon, and Garrett Cole alone, that's 600 innings they're missing out of their starting staff.
Yep.
Just out of those three. And then Luis Gill, another 150. So that's 750 right there. That is basically an entire staff worth of innings that they've had on the shelf for most of this season.
Yeah. And that, again, it's a lot of experience, a lot of postseason starts and experience just sitting on your IL right now.
Right?
So, I mean, I guess the hope is that Cole gets back into somewhat of his old form. I mean, I'm sure they're hoping Fried is back at some point in the second half. But I can only wonder. Nad, wrong show for that.
What do you say?
He asked me a football question.
Oh.
What quarterback do Jalen Knights hate the most? Nad, first off, this is our baseball show one, but A, I don't hate any of them. I don't have hate for Josh Allen. Nad is one of our 49er fans that watches Birds of the Gridiron, and thanks to the combination of him and Anthony, and I forget somebody else last Friday, they sent Tyler into a full tailspin, so that was fun.
So is that why he's taking the week off this week? He's going on a sabbatical because of it?
You'd think. You may think about it. All right, next up let's go to Cleveland. And we know the Guardians, they are notoriously known for their pitching and their defense. They're never going to beat a lot of teams with their bats. Parker Messick and Gavin Williams have been pretty damn good themselves.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't surprise you, though. I mean, like you said, Cleveland,
Now,
like the Rays, the year they won series against the Cubs, Corey Kluber wasn't technically their guy to develop. It was Trevor Bauer. But they took what Corey Kluber did well at, and they took what Trevor Bauer did well at, and they turned that into a strength. Whether it's Shane Bieber, whether it's having a good slider, whether it's having a good sinker baller, they find what these pitchers are good at, and they turn that into their biggest strength when they're on the mound.
yeah, I mean, Gavin Williams has the stuff. We knew that. Messick has been the surprise. A lot of people, I'm sure, thought this would have been Williams along with Tanner Bybee, but Bybee's had a really rough start to the year. I think he only has like 2 wins, and he has not been getting a lot of run support.
I mean, even look at Cincione, too. Like, Cincione's had like 5 or 6 good starts already.
They have. So, I mean, they've had, again, a team that is notorious for pitching and defense. Messick's just been amazing. And
yeah, he's been impressive.
Having Bybee having this off year, Parker Messick has really helped kind of replace some of that.
Right.
Nat said he quit watching baseball when Shohei went to the Dodgers.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I almost quit after Kyle Tucker went to the Dodgers, even though he's been one of the biggest disappointments of the first half of the season.
Yeah, well, Kyle Tucker might not ever want to step into Dodger Stadium again, so he's another athlete. We talked about this last week. He's another athlete that just needs to stay off of freaking Twitter.
They all should stay off of Twitter.
I mean, did you see what he said the other day?
What did he say? Do I want to know what he said?
So a lot of people are kind of saying the Cubs dodged a bullet with him because of his struggles the second half last year, even though he kind of pointed to the injuries as the reason why he struggled last year. And now you have some fans jumping on him saying, "You're not hurt this year. Like, why are you struggling this year?" And he's like, "You're the ones paying the $60 million to pay my contract. How about you tell me what you want me to do better, and I'll try it."
They're just points as an athlete where you don't talk.
That's one of them.
Yes, one of them. Why?
I mean, of all fans to say that too, like, why would you say it to those fans versus like, you're paying me my contract. I don't care if I suck. You're paying me my contract, so why don't you tell me how you want me to improve and I'll do it. Well, I'll have fun going into Dodger Stadium next time.
Kyle Tucker's going to Kyle Tucker, I guess. All right. Now, the next one on this list, I want to go down a little bit to a team down in Florida. Not the Tampa Bay Rays, the Miami
Marlins.
Marlins, who are actually right in the thick of things in the NL East. They're right behind them with the Phillies, trying to catch the Braves. Max Meyer and Sandy Alcantara. They have combined for a 19-5 record.
Yep.
Alcantara's 10-4. Meyer's 9-1.
Yep.
And again, this is the team. They don't have a lot of superstars. They have no superstars in terms of their offense. Stowers hasn't had the first half like he had last year. Of course, he missed the beginning of the season with an injury. And, Otto Lopez has been good. Hicks has been good. They've had some
Xavier Edwards is a dog.
Xavier Edwards has been really good. But man, like I knew Alcantara was off to. I knew after those first few starts when he looked really good, it kind of went backwards a little bit, but he's still pitching well. I mean, he's got 10 wins. I mean, that's pretty damn
Yeah.
impressive. I had no idea Max Meyer was 9-1.
No, and this is what annoys me the most about that team. And this goes back to when they had Josh Beckett, Carl Pavano, Brad Penny, and whoever else they had back in 03. You have a not even a mid-market franchise, but Miami's a pretty big media market. But yet you
Oh
constantly
yes,
have one of the lowest payrolls in baseball, which I still don't understand. Look at who the Marlins have given up on the last couple of years via trade, for whatever reason. And just imagine the staff that they could have right now. You have Alcantara and Max Meyer, who have 19 combined wins. You gave up on Ryan Weathers. You could have Ryan Weathers right now as your number 3. You could still have Edward Cabrera, even though Edward Cabrera has struggled this year. He would still be a very good number 4 or number 5 in your rotation. You gave up on Tyler Rogers, Trevor Rogers, whatever Rogers it was that they had. It's in Baltimore. You gave up on him when he had a 13-3 year with you.
they gave on Jesus Luzardo a couple years ago.
Jesus Luzardo. That is 6 legitimate starting pitchers that are all going to win you double-digit games, that all have the potential to pitch it to an ERA under a 3. Like, at some point,
Exactly.
the Marlins need to start operating. I'm not going to say operating like a big market team because they're never going to be that. But at some point, the Marlins need to realize what they have in front of them and hold on to that as long as possible before you get rid of it.
Yeah, because I mean they've done this forever now. Like
They win the
it
World Series
started
in
ever.
'97. They got everything. They win the World Series in 2003. they gut everything. They haven't had really any success since 2003. And now you've had the potential to have those 6 starting pitchers all on your roster at one time, but yet you trade them away because you didn't have the offense, you didn't have certain pieces that were able to compete. As the owner of that team, I'll take my lumps offensively and I will build my team around those 6 starting pitchers and hold on to those 6 guys for as long as I can.
Yeah, because we know in this day and age of baseball, what is the one thing you need a plethora of? Starting pitching.
Exactly. And if you wanted to go with a 6-man rotation, knowing the injury history of Alcantara, knowing the injury history of Cabrera, you could easily go a 6-man rotation, and even Luzardo for that matter. You could even
Yeah.
go a 6-man rotation with those 6 guys, and that instantly becomes the deepest rotation in the National League.
Yeah. And not to mention, they also still have Yuri Perez.
Yep.
They have arms for days. And, like, again, this is what drives me nuts with the Marlins is they've had talent all those years. Look at the teams that they they gutted just because they had, like, one bad year. They, at one point, had an infield of Miguel Cabrera, Hanley Ramirez, Dan Uggla. Did nothing with it.
Yep.
They once had a team with Giancarlo Stanton, Marcelo Zuna, Christian Yelich, JT Realmuto. Gutted.
Yep.
It's like they got the new ballpark and they haven't tried to win since they got there.
I know. And, like, the thing is, like, obviously the Dodgers are head over heels the favorites to come out of the National League again. And that's because they have the deepest lineup in the National League. They have probably the deepest pitching staff when it's healthy. But the one team that I would be frightened to face, whether I'm the Phillies, whether I'm the Dodgers, whether I'm the Braves or the Brewers or anybody that's going to make the National League playoffs for that matter, the one team that I would be frightened to face in a best of 5 is the Marlins because of those 3 guys that they can throw at you right away.
Yeah. Fighting Philly said, "Bring back the home run sculpture." They still have it. It's out. It's out outside now.
Yeah.
That
So like
stupid thing that they had.
those 3 guys in a best of 5 can beat any lineup.
Yes.
And we always talk
fighting
about this in the playoffs. It's about who's hot, not who's necessarily the best team. If those 3 pitchers can get hot in a best of 5, they can beat anybody in the best of 5. That's the one team, if I'm in the National League, I'm hoping to avoid in the wild card round because I don't want to have to put all the stock into my pitchers trying to go toe-to-toe with their pitchers and then realize, crap, we just screwed ourselves for the next round.
Yeah, and Fighting Philly made a comment earlier. He said the Marlins will end up trading them both.
Well, Alcantara, I still see them trading just because he's in the final year of his deal. You look at how much he's making, that makes sense. But you have Max Meyer for, I think, 3 more years, and you have Yuri Perez for 4 more years. Marlins aren't touching either one of those guys for at least 2 years.
Yeah, probably not. But again, it's the Marlins. We have to be cautious of this.
Do you know how much Meyer's making this year?
No, I don't.
Meyer's making $411,000, and Yuri Perez is making $385,000.
Marlins may have to shed that payroll.
Marlins are not parting ways with that because that is less than $1 million between those 2 guys.
Yeah. Now, let's go a tandem that I am actually surprised did not get more votes. And that is Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Shohei Ohtani. I'm surprised these 2 didn't get a higher vote. I thought they would have been up there close to. Honestly, I thought they could have rivaled Sanchez and Wheeler in this poll.
I'm not surprised they don't have the most votes. I'm just surprised their percentage is as low as it is. I mean, everybody saw what Yamamoto did in the playoffs last year. I mean, what he did was Madison Bumgarner-esque when he had his run with the Giants, except doing it from the right side. But when you look at Shohei Ohtani, basically telling the Dodgers before the season started that this is probably going to be his final year as a starting pitcher, knowing how many injuries he's had, and yet he leads Major League Baseball in freaking earned run average right now. Well, if this is your final year as a starter, you're sure as hell going out on top. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. And again, it's another year. Glass now hurt. Blake Snell hurt. And Roki Sasaki still hasn't put it together as a starter in the big leagues yet. I still think he would translate better as a reliever. But you just talked about the best of five, and going up against the Marlins. What team is going to hit these two in October?
I mean, honestly, the only team that I could see hitting either one of those guys in October is your team in Philadelphia because they've done it before.
Did we really though?
You did. Didn't you put up like 5 runs off of Yamamoto?
Yeah, we got him. We got him in the game, we got him out in L.A. and we scored 3 off Ohtani too.
Yeah. So you scored 5 runs off of Yamamoto. Yamamoto gave up 6 runs the entire playoffs.
Fair point.
So you literally basically gave up. He gave up pretty much everything he gave up came against you guys.
Yeah, it also didn't help that Schwarber took him his one swing took him completely out of Chavez Ravine.
That's what I'm saying though. Like you lit up Yamamoto. So the Phillies aren't afraid of Yamamoto, and they're not afraid of Ohtani.
No, they're just afraid of hitting in the playoffs consistently.
Yeah, but you'll be able to get to one of those guys in the best of 5. Maybe not both, but of those 2 guys, if you have to see those guys twice, depending on how long that series goes, the Phillies are going to get to one of them. It's just a matter of how much they can get to the second guy.
Yeah. What's up, Orlando? Orlando said the Yankees suck, coming from a Yankees fan. Yes, Orlando, they are not having they don't completely suck, but they still have Cam Schlittler throwing the ball well, and Will Warren's been okay.
They suck because they don't have Aaron Judge in that lineup right now.
Yes, let's just be real. When big old 99 ain't out there, a lot sucks.
Yeah.
And look, this is actually where a disagreement happens here. Because, Orlando's agreeing with you, Dustin, about the Phillies. The problem is, I've watched this for 4 straight postseasons. I can't trust these guys in October to say this.
Well, I mean, that's like the thing with the Phillies, though. Every October, whether they face the Dodgers or the Padres or whoever they face, where they ultimately end up losing in a Game 5 or a Game 7. What's the reason why? They have 2 games.
They can't.
They have 2 games where they hit the crap out of the ball. They have 2 games where they couldn't hit sand if they fell off a camel. And then they have that last game where you never know what's going to happen in that last game.
Which is the Orion Kerkering throwing the ball to home plate game.
Yeah. That's how that series went. You had their 2 wins you had their 1 win against the Dodgers where they hit the crap out of the baseball. You had their 1 loss against the Dodgers where they hit the crap out of the baseball. You had the other loss against the Dodgers where they couldn't do anything. And then you had that series clinching loss where Ryan Kerkering, I'm 100 feet away from home plate. I'm going to throw it 40 feet.
Let's not bring that up. I don't want to have to relive that. All right, and the last rotation, the last 1-2 punch on the poll was Logan Gilbert and Bryce Miller in Seattle. Now, we could both agree you could pick any 2 pitches in Seattle because of how deep that rotation is, but Gilbert's got the best record, Miller has the best ERA, so that's why I went with those 2.
Yep. I never really watched much of Logan Gilbert up until they made the playoffs last year. And now I'm watching him more this year. That dude is one of the most underrated pitchers in all of baseball.
You can make that case on half that rotation.
Yeah, but the thing is with Gilbert though, he's the only one in that rotation that's consistently been healthy though.
That is
Kirby's
true.
missed time. Brian Wu has missed time. Wilson has missed time. I think Gilbert had the one season where he missed, I think, 7 starts. But outside of that, the guy consistently gives you 28 to 30 starts and 190 plus innings every year. And yet he never gets any love because of the team he's on.
Yeah, and Luis Castillo, who he has not been good at all this year.
No.
No, yeah, I could agree with you on Logan Gilbert being one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball. I can get behind that. And Orlando said, coming from a Yankees fan, Judge is fun to watch in the regular season, but come playoffs, he's nowhere to be found. Oh boy.
I mean, I really can't say that because the year that the Yankees went to the World and lost to the Dodgers, Aaron Judge had a good postseason.
Yeah, I was gonna say he did. So
Like he actually showed up, and
and
it was
Orlando,
amazing what happens.
yeah, and again, what I'm not putting this all on him, but like, why was that? Because he actually had legitimate protection in that lineup.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge struggles in the postseason because every team pitches him outside.
Yep.
Every team is going to throw him outside because they know there's nobody else in that lineup. The only other hitter in that lineup right this second that would even come close to remotely concerning me is Cody Bellinger.
I'd say Ben Rice too, because Ben
Oh,
Rice got off to a good start.
and yes, Ben Wright. I'm not used to the Yankees having young players that play every day that are productive. I'm used to them just having a
Oh,
bunch of
I
old
agree.
heads.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's my fault. But no, yes, I agree. I will agree there as well. They Aaron Judge's biggest issue in the postseason is that once again he's never had the most consistent protection in that lineup. And the one year when he had a legitimate player next to him in Juan Soto, they got to the World Series.
Right.
So I will defend him on that note because Aaron Judge can perform when, like, I don't want to say Aaron Judge is 2007 LeBron James in Cleveland. He's got a lot more help in that lineup than LeBron had with the Cavaliers, and it's
Oh yeah.
kind of bad. It's bad to compare basketball to baseball, but that's what I'm trying to like make it sound like is that Judge has no legitimate help in that lineup that you would consistently strike fear into you.
No, he doesn't. This isn't
And the
like
fact that
your lineup with Derek Jeter, Jorge Posada, Hideki Matsui, and pretty much every Bernie Williams. Pretty much every single person on your lineup was hitting a 300 in the playoffs.
and the fact that the Yankees are still 50-42 with him out, that's still pretty damn impressive.
And I think that's a big reason. A lot of people wanted Aaron Boone fired last year. You haven't heard too many people calling for Aaron Boone's job this year because they haven't had Garrett Cole, they haven't had Rendon, they haven't had Max Fried, they haven't had Aaron Judge, and yet they're still sitting at 50-42. This, in my opinion, could be the best season that Aaron Boone has had as a manager.
You said the words Aaron Boone. You may ruffle some feathers.
I'm just saying, though, you look at the injuries he's had to deal with, and how many of those injuries are key parts to that team's overall success. And the fact that they're still 8 games above 500, they're still very much alive in that wild card race right now. People can hate on him all they want, but he deserves a ton of credit for the job he's done so far this year.
I don't disagree. Now, I'm not a big Aaron Boone guy, but I don't disagree with what you're saying. I don't think he's done himself favors in the past, but I will say
No,
he hasn't been.
he hasn't done himself favors in the past. That's why I said like a lot of people wanted him fired after last year, and if they would have fired him after last year, I wouldn't have had an issue with it. But now you look at the job that he's done so far this year. I think he bought himself another year in New York.
Oh, God, don't say that. Yankee fans may come running for us. Those are dangerous words to say about Aaron Boone.
They are, but you see it every time across sports though. Like you have a coach that has been, I'll say football for example, because it's the easiest one to go with because it's the shortest season. But we'll say like Mike Tomlin. He was in Pittsburgh for 18 years. The guy probably should have been fired 6 years ago because he hasn't done much since he got to the Super Bowl and won that Super Bowl. He consistently finishes with 9 wins, which puts his team in a position to make the playoffs every year. But that's about it. Like, he hasn't done much. Then he has that 1 year with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields as his starting quarterback, where all of a sudden the Steelers win 10 games, and it's like, this was actually a very good season by Mike Tomlin. He bought himself another year in Pittsburgh.
And Orlando, yes, Judge did not hit great in that World Series, but we're not talking about that. It's the point that when he had a legitimate player in the lineup with him, look how far they can get. That's the
How many
point we're
games?
trying to
How
make
many
here.
games did he? How many games did he win for him to get him to the World Series?
Yeah, don't forget about the ALCS in Cleveland, what he did out there. Dude took Clase to opposite field, which not many hitters could have done.
That's because
Orlando
Clase
said he
wasn't
won.
allowed. That's because Clase wasn't allowed to bet on pitchers anymore at that point.
Oh dear God. Orlando said he wanted Boone fired 3 years ago.
And see, that's the point that I'm trying to make right there. Like, if you would have fired him 3 years ago, I would have cared. But then he gets to the
Yeah,
World Series, and then he gets to the World Series, and they lose. Did it go 7 games, or did it go 6?
I think it went 6.
So you go 6 games against the Dodgers, and you lose to the Dodgers. You're not firing a manager who just got you to the World Series and lost in 6 games. You're not
No.
firing a manager that just did that. So he bought himself another year. He did not manage up to expectations last season. I honestly thought the Yankees were going to fire him this past offseason because of how the team played last year. They elected to hang on to him this year, and now he's gone through probably the worst stretch of injuries that he's ever had as a manager, and yet he still hasn't been in playoff contention. He bought himself 1 more year just because of what he's been able to do with the amount of bodies that he lost.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think he's bought himself more time. Now, where does that take the Yankees? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but I don't disagree with that. But eventually, you got to get over the hump. And if he doesn't do it for, excuse me, 2 more years, then maybe that's the time they'll finally pull the plug.
But here's the rebuttal I'm going to make to that though. What do you consider getting over the hump? Because how many
It,
teams have been able to take down the Dodgers?
that is true. But let's be
They
real.
got they
It's
got to the World Series. They got to the World Series and won 6 games. What happened the next year? A team from that same division got to the World Series and took them 7 games in the Blue Jays, and they still lost to the Dodgers. So is there really getting over a hump at this point? Because until somebody actually can knock the Dodgers off, I think just getting to the World Series is an accomplishment for any team at this point. And getting to 6 or 7 games against the Dodgers, in my opinion, that's getting over the hump because of the team you're going against.
Yeah, but I mean, see, and that's the problem with the sport is that now getting over the hump is just getting to the dance. It's about winning the whole damn thing. And
It
in New
is, but
York,
when you have that team though, that what they've done the last 3 years in free agency, that's a lot easier said than done to beat them.
oh no, and I agree with you, and I understand that. But the point is, this is New York. This is the Bronx Bombers. This is the 27-time world champions who I have to listen to every freaking year. No offense, and this is not toward Orlando because he is one of the realest Yankee fans I know out there. I want to be real. I am so sick and tired of hearing about 27 rings that when our grandparents were barely alive to see half of them.
Yeah,
But that's the standard they are held to. That look, we've won the most World Series in baseball. No one's ever going to touch us unless the Dodgers find a way to salary cap themselves to 20 more World Series, which is always a possibility. But
Yeah.
that's the standard in New York. Is that what they are held to? They don't want to hear excuses. And if Aaron Boone doesn't at least get them back there within the next 2 years, he may be looking for another job.
See, that I will agree with if he doesn't get him back there. But if he gets him back there again and they run into the Dodgers and they lose again, you're not going to fire him because it's just like, what do you want us to do? We're getting to where you want us to go. We just don't have the resources that team in front of us has.
Like, look, he wasn't getting fired after last year. They lost Juan Soto.
Yeah.
And there was no hitter on the market last year that you were going to replace Juan Soto with to expect the same production.
No.
If
Not at
anything,
all.
I've said this too. I know Aaron Boone is not the greatest manager, and I will stick to that as well with people. I agree with people. But don't act like Brian Cashman isn't hold some of this blame too for the crap rosters he's put together.
No, 100%. And the one guy that the Yankees needed this offseason, and I know you and I talked about this back in February when this show started. The one player the Yankees needed to come away in the offseason was Kyle Tucker. Like, I get
Yeah.
that he's struggling in Los Angeles, but when you look at how right field is at Yankee Stadium, he would not be
It's better than
struggling, and
Houston.
he would not be struggling at Yankee Stadium. He would be
Absolutely
like
not.
he would be in the MVP conversation right now. If he was with the Yankees.
Yes, I completely agree with that. I think Kyle
Because
Tucker in New York would.
the protection he would have gave Judge. And then you have that short right field where he could have just hit little routine 330, 340 foot pop flies that are going to land 5 rows deep into the bleachers. The guy might only be hitting a 260, but he'd probably have around 30 home runs right now and close to 70 RBIs. Like, he'd be in the MVP race right now if he was in the Yankees.
I don't disagree. And Orlando, you are spot on. Stanton also had a big playoffs 2 years ago, and the Yankees reached the World Series. He came up with big hits too. All three of those guys did.
Yep.
But no, if you're like I said, I have no issue with blaming Aaron Boone. I have no issue with any of that. But Brian Cashman has not been good at his job for a long time now.
No.
There are players that he just continues to put guys out of position. He's traded for shortstops, putting them in right field. He refuses to give up on Anthony Volpe, who, by the way, stinks. And I hate to say that about a young kid, but Volpe he cannot play at the big league level.
Not yet, at least.
There was Michael Kay just came out and said the Yankees said to him, "We want to try you at second base a little bit," and he responded, "No, I'm a shortstop." I'm sorry, Derek Jeter. When did you become a first ballot Hall of Famer with 5 World Series rings to where you could say, "Oh no, I'm a shortstop"? Right there. If I'm the Yankees, I'm like, "Oh, you could be a shortstop. That's fine. You could be a shortstop anywhere you want." But guess where you're not going to be a shortstop? And that's the city of New York.
My response would have been, fine, you want to be a shortstop? You can be a shortstop with us. It'll be in Scranton and Wilkes-Barre.
Pretty much. I'm a shortstop. Are you? Because I've seen you commit about 12 errors a season. And that's just my point again. They refuse to move off of him. And look, eventually you got to realize that the kid's at the big league level. He's not a big league hitter.
No, he's not a big league anything right now.
Yeah, like even with the Phillies, like Bryson Stott. Is Bryson Stott a great big league hitter? No. He's probably slightly above average, if that. But the guy makes up for it because he's one of the best fielding second basemen I've ever seen in my entire life. And I watched Chase Utley when I was a kid.
You did.
Orlando, I know, man. The Volpe stuff is just bizarre. They're just married to the idea of what they think he is. All right. let's get into
Are we
some other
ready to
stuff
talk
we
about
have planned for tonight. We've been on this.
some umpires?
You want to do that? Or you want to do the All-Star rosters?
I want umpires first because I laughed when I saw this come out the other day.
All right. So we do have some breaking umpires news. 7 umpires have informed Major League Baseball that they will be accepting their buyouts and retiring at the end of 2026. Those 7 umpires: CB Buckner, Laz Diaz, Brian O'Nora, Lance Barksdale, Marvin Hudson, Tony Randazzo, and Andy Fletcher. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dustin. Are those not like all of their like longest tenured umpires?
Oh, they are. And all I can say about that is do your job and you wouldn't have this issue. There's a reason why ABS became a thing, and U7 are a big reason for it.
Yeah, no. They are the 7 of the longest tenured umpires, and they have been 7 of the more inaccurate ones. That's the
Yep.
problem.
The other one, and then Joe West and Christ, who was the one that left this year? Was it Diaz? Laz Diaz? No, Angel
I
Hernandez.
know.
Angel Hernandez.
Yeah, well, I would say Laz is on this list.
Yeah, Angel Hernandez. Like Angel Hernandez, Joe West, and then these 7. Those 9 umpires are the reason why Major League Baseball adopted this ABS, because not only were they inconsistent from one game to the next, they were inconsistent from one inning to the next. They had no idea where they wanted the strike zone to be, and they just kind of adjusted on the fly and said, I'm going to call it this way for this inning, but the next inning, I'm going to call it this way.
Oh yeah, that's definitely because here's the thing. CB Buckner's had a rough year. Laz Diaz has been bad for a while now.
Like, did you see the one game? I think it was Cleveland. I want to say it was Cleveland in the Twins, and Laz Diaz had home plate.
Oh, dear
Laz
God.
Diaz, Laz Diaz almost threw Bo Naylor out of the game in the first inning because Bo Naylor challenged 4 consecutive pitches. All 4 pitches Laz Diaz got wrong.
That's umpires for you.
Like Laz Diaz is getting mad at Naylor, like ready to throw him out of the game, and Naylor's like, "You can't. Like, I can challenge whenever I want, and if I get the call right, I keep my challenges. So you can't do shit besides make the call incorrectly."
And of course, we know CB Buckner's situation. The opening week in Cincinnati, missing 3 straight. Then the call at first base where he's like, "Oh, we never touched the bag." The guy stepped right in the center of the damn thing. The whole thing is just insanity.
The only one that I am actually a little bit surprised with, and I might be in the minority on this, but I don't think Tony Randazzo has actually done that bad of a job. Like Tony Randazzo, yes, he does have inconsistencies, but at least he's consistent with his inconsistencies.
Consistent at being inconsistent. Of course, that makes sense. Anthony Volpe's the king of it.
Well, no, like he's very inconsistent when it comes to like calling balls and strikes. Like sometimes he'll give the outside corner, sometimes he won't. Sometimes he'll give the low strike, sometimes he won't. But at least he keeps it that way for both teams. It's not like CB Buckner, who one half of an inning he's not going to give the outside corner, and then all of a sudden the next team comes out and pitches, and those bunches that were balls the first half of the inning are now strikes. At least Randazzo keeps it the same way for both teams.
That's fair. That's fair.
And like as much as I want these umpires to get the call right, no one's gonna. Yes, we have seen some have the perfect game, perfect scorecard, which is a rarity. But have an umpire wrong, as opposed to being inconsistent wrong all the time. If you're going to be wrong, but at least consistent both ways, that because I can adjust the court.
I got you on that. And again, I find it very crazy how it's like they're 7 of their most longest tenured umpires that are all taking their opt outs. Do we think some of this has to do with the impending of if we will have a season next year?
What?
I think that could have something to do with this a little bit too. Why sit around and wonder if I'm going to be working next year when I've been doing this long enough? I could just take my buyout and leave. Oh, Dustin got booted again, so he'll be back with us shortly in a second. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. Now, what were you saying? I think some of this has to do with what?
Could some of this have to do with the impending of what happens next year?
For CB Buckner and Laz Diaz, yes, because their contracts were up after this year. Those two,
Okay.
yes. But like guys like Tony Randazzo and the rest of the umpires that are on that list, they were still under contract for a couple more years yet. So I think theirs is more so. I'm not going to say they're getting embarrassed, but I think they're just kind of done with being put in the spotlight every time they get a ball or a strike called wrong. I think they feel like ABS, like as much as it has improved the game, which it has, I think it's also kind of these longer tenured umpires have gotten to the point now it's like you can't expect us to be perfect because there's not one single human being on this planet that walks into work every single day and is perfect every single day.
I agree.
And I think it's just getting to the point where these umpires now are just getting frustrated where it's like, could we be better? Of course. Like, yeah, they go into every single start and they're probably like, yeah, we can be better. Of course we can be better. Better like, but last start I missed 14 calls. This start I missed 9 calls. I improved. I still wasn't perfect, but at least I showed you that I can improve.
Yeah. But yeah, I just that's what I thought to myself. I was sitting here when I saw that report. I'm like, okay, for some of them it may make sense, but could they be looking at the uncertainty of what happens next year and saying, yeah, I don't feel like sitting around for a year and wondering what's going to happen. I'm just going to get out of this now.
Yeah, for those two, I think that was the deciding factor. The rest of them, I think it's just to the point now where it's like the system has changed the game. Obviously, it's changed the game for the best you want as possible. But it's the same thing with every sport. There is going to be that human error factor in every sport that you're just going to have to accept as an athlete, as a coach, as a fan. And it does kind of take away from the game a little bit when you completely eliminate the human error aspect of it.
Yeah. So it's going to be a whole bunch of young crop umpires going next season, pending if there's a season. All right, shall we get into these all-star rosters? All
Let's
right, let me
roll.
just pull this up here. Let's kick things off with the National League. So, for anybody who needs this little bit of help here, you have for the pitchers for the National League: Chase Burns, Johan Duran, Raciel Iglesias, Max Meyer, who is not participating, Mason Miller, Jacob Mizorowski, who is also not participating, Eduardo Rodriguez, Chris Sale, Christopher Sanchez, Paul Skeens, who is also not participating. And then you also have Logan Webb and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Just to give everybody that quick update that I just said, Braxton Ashcraft, Jesus Luzardo, and Riley O'Brien will be replacing Mizorowski, Meyer, and Paul Skeens. Now, for
I
your
was fine.
catchers, you have
I was fine with everybody on that list that made it, and I was fine with everybody on that list that is replacing the ones that cannot participate. But somehow Zach Wheeler's got to be added to that list somehow.
Jesus Luzardo should not be an all-star over Zach Wheeler.
That's true. So
And
there you
I
go. Put Wheeler.
and
Put
I get
Wheeler
the
in place
whole
of
thing.
Luzardo.
And I get, they're trying to say like, oh, Wheeler's pitching this Sunday, and that's why he won't pitch in the All-Star game. He even said, "I'll pitch in inning on Tuesday. I'll be fine."
And you could be Don Mattingly and be like, if that's the real reason why you're not putting him in the All Star game, problem solved. Hey Wheeler, you're not pitching on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll bullpen game it.
Yeah, if that's really the issue why they're not putting him in there, if I'm Don Mattingly, I'm like, if that's really the reason why you're not putting him in the All Star game, I'll solve that problem for you. We'll use the bullpen game on Sunday, and Wheeler won't pitch.
Pretty much. But yeah, I have no issue with this group right here. And like I said, with the replacements, I only have the issue with Luzardo.
Yeah.
For your catchers, you have Drake Baldwin, William Contreras, and Hunter Goodman. I have no issues there.
No issues, no. And honestly, I think Hunter Goodman should start over Drake Baldwin. But
I agree because honestly, if we're being completely honest, Baldwin, since coming off the IL, has been awful.
yep.
He's only had like 3 hits since returning from the injured list.
Yep, so I'd be starting Hunter Goodman, but he won't be. So
All right, now if we go down to your infielders, we have C.J. Abrams, Ozzy Albies, Luis Ariz, Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, who was the Legends pick, which is an absolute joke, Otto
yep.
Lopez, Otto Lopez, Max Muncy, Matt Olson, and Sal Stewart.
I guess
have no issues there either.
I have an issue. Bryce Harper should have made it without being a Legends pick, but
I agree.
at least he's still there.
Exactly. He got there. I'm not going to complain. And for your outfielders, we have Corbin Carroll, Pete Crow Armstrong, Brandon Marsh, Andy Pajes, Juan Soto, Jordan Walker, and James Wood. I also have no issues with that.
I mean, I have an issue because Pete Crow Armstrong's not starting. And when you named off that list, isn't he really the only center fielder?
I mean, the only other one is Pajes, isn't it?
Yeah, but Pajes is not that good of a center fielder just because he has a lot of RBIs. He's only hitting like a 240.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the only other legitimate possible center fielder would be Brandon Marsh, but Brandon Marsh hasn't really played center field much at all this year. He's been mostly playing in the corners.
No, and you have PCA right who's hitting a 296 with 21 home runs, 24 stolen bases, and I think 58 RBIs.
The starting outfield should be, in my opinion, PCA, Juan Soto, and probably I'll go James Wood.
Yeah, I mean James Wood, PCA, and Juan Soto. That's your starting 3. Or if you want to get cute, put Juan Soto in left and start Corbin Carroll in right because Corbin Carroll has had a good year.
Oh, I'm putting Juan Soto in left for even if James Wood starts. Regardless, I'm putting Juan Soto in left.
And then I would actually start Corbin Carroll over James Wood because Corbin Carroll missed the first few weeks of the season with that broken hematoma bone, and he's still putting up a solid season.
And for our designated hitters, we have Shohei Ohtani and Kyle Schwarber. Gee, what a surprise.
I'll take things that were going to be guaranteed to happen for 200, Alex.
All right, let's move over to the American League All-Star team. We have Brian Baker from the Tampa Bay Rays, Dylan Cease from the Toronto Blue Jays, Aroldis Chapman for the Red Sox, Jacob Latz from the Rangers, Parker Messick from the Guardians, Drew Rasmussen from Tampa, Joe Ryan from the Twins, Cam Schlittler in New York, Cade Smith also in Cleveland, Ranger Suarez, that's so freaking awesome, Lewis Varland from Toronto, and Michael Wacha from Kansas City.
I'm trying to think if I do. I do have an issue. One guy that should be on that list that's not is Garrett Crochet.
Well, Crochet's been out most of the first half, hasn't he?
It don't matter. He still has better numbers than some of those other guys do.
Does he? I don't. I may disagree with you on this. I'm pretty sure Crochet has been out most and is still hurt.
Okay, well then never mind. Who else we could put on that list then? Did you say Logan Gilbert?
No, I did not say Logan Gilbert.
Well, he should be on that list.
Sonny Gray should be on this list.
Yep, Sonny Gray should be on that list. Logan Gilbert should be on that list.
Sonny Gray is 10-1.
Yep.
I don't think Wacha should be over Sonny Gray, and I don't even think Ranger Suarez should be over Sonny Gray.
No. I think Sonny Gray and Gilbert should be in.
I mean, Logan Gilbert's 7-5, 3.19. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Let me just curious. What is Michael Wacha up to this year?
Wacha's actually had a surprisingly good year.
I wouldn't say it's surprising. He's been pretty good over the past few years, but
isn't he like 9-4?
He's 5-6.
Oh, what's his ERA though?
3.45.
See, that's why though. He's not getting a ton of run support.
That's an average season, though. That's not all-star worthy.
Really, Paul Skeens was 9-11 last year and won the frickin' Cy Young.
Ranger Suarez is 4-3 with a 3.15.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm not happy. I have some issues with the American League.
Right.
All right, down into the catchers. We have Dylan Dingler from Detroit. We have Shea Langeliers from the Athletics and Adley Rutschman in Baltimore.
Langeliers, I think, should start. I don't know if he is, but I think Langeliers should start.
I don't disagree.
I don't think Adley Rutschman should be there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who had Adley Rutschman though, because it's really not Raleigh's having such a. I guess by default, maybe. Because by default, maybe you have to keep Adley Rutschman there because the American League is pretty weak on catchers.
Honestly. And also, by the way, just for anybody that we did forget to mention, Justin Verlander was also added to the American League staff as their Legends pick, just so we are aware. So we'll that's that. All right. Moving into your infielders, you have Travis Bazzana in Cleveland. You have Junior Caminero, Ernie Clement, Vlad Guerrero Jr., who is not participating. Wilson Contreras is taking his spot. And then, of course, you have Nick Kurtz, Kevin McGonigal, Ben Rice, Miguel Vargas, and Bobby Witt Jr.
I'm mostly okay with that list. The only one that I would question a little bit is Travis Bazzana. I mean, he's a rookie. He's having a great rookie season. I'm not going to take that away from him. But I think there are some other middle infielders that could have gotten that spot over Bazzana, like Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah. And scroll, let me get a little here. For the outfielders, we have Randy Arozarena, Cody Bellinger, Byron Buxton, Riley Green, Aaron Judge, and Mike Trout, who will be playing in the game. He was activated from the IL today.
Well, Byron Buxton is hurt, and so is Aaron
Yes, he
Judge.
is.
So they're gonna need two replacements.
Yep. So we will have to. I'll have to see if I can. I don't have
Tyler
those on tap.
Tyler Soderstrom of Sacramento should be one of the replacements.
Yeah.
And then if I could look across the rest of the American League in terms of, again, they're pretty weak when you think of high quality outfielders like the guy from Wyatt Langford. Wyatt Langford is a maybe because Wyatt Langford's had a decent second season this year.
Yeah. I mean, that could be an option. But yes, it's gonna be a thin. It's a thin of the outfield in the American League with all these injuries, and then of course the DHs, Jordan Alvarez and Yandy Diaz. I got no issues with that at all because it's like Schwarber and Otani. They're just two of the best. The two, they're probably two of the best hitters of the American League this year. I mean, Jordan's in like every top category in the American League in terms of home runs, RBIs, run score, batting average. You name it, he's doing it. And then Yandy Diaz is just all Yandy Diaz does is hit.
See, that's the thing though. Like, even though he had a down year, I would probably put Cal Yandy Diaz at DH, but I would still put Yandy Diaz in the infield.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Because you have some people that are not going to be participating in the infield. You have some people that are not going to be participating in the outfield. Yandy Diaz does play first base, so you can put him on the infield side of that roster. Cal Raleigh plays prime.
Don't hate it. I don't hate where the thought process is there. But I don't think you could justify it all with Raleigh being on the roster at all. He's just been such
I
a
just have a
down
hard time
year.
punishing. Yeah, and like I just have a hard time punishing him
Yeah,
just because of the historical year he had last year.
yeah, but it's still just again, this is all star voting. It's nothing more than a popularity contest at this point.
Yeah,
Did we ever get clarification why Vlad's not participating?
I just think he's not hurt. From
Yeah,
what
he's
I
not
heard,
hurt.
the manager not happy with how he's played since he signed the massive. So he kind of wants All-Star break as a mental reset to try to figure out why he's not performing the way he wants to.
Interesting. Because yeah, I thought that was weird. You don't really hear position players not participate in that. Interesting. All right, Dustin. Shall we see who's going to win this week? Us or this damn grid?
We shall.
All right, let's get that share screen. Let's get the share screen up here. All right, so here we go for this week. On the top column, you have Texas Rangers, Toronto Blue Jays, and a 40-plus career WAR. And on the left column, you have Pittsburgh Pirates, Houston Astros, and a 300-plus batting average season. Where do I even freaking start?
Well, This was actually be a little challenging this week, ain't it?
A little bit.
If we go to 300 batting average, Vlad Guerrero's hit 300, hasn't he?
He's had to have.
Vlad Guerrero Jr.
If I'm telling you, if we lose on the first guess, I'm done. There we go.
300 career batting average in a season. You got to think Barry Bonds was in the 40 war.
You know, let's put Barry down there.
He's got to be in the 40 war.
If not, I'm calling a recount. All right. So we need a 300. I got this one.
We got.
Michael Young.
That's a good one. That's a good pull.
Last season was a 2013. Do you know where he spent that season? No, it was not Texas.
Philadelphia.
Yup.
I was
All
gonna throw.
right.
I was gonna throw Corey Seager in there. I was gonna throw Adrian Beltre, Juan Gonzalez.
All very good guesses. All right. So now we still have to get Astros, Pirates, and all these other good stuff.
40 career WAR for the Astros. Nolan Ryan. Guy was probably a million career WAR.
Okay.
Houston and the Blue Jays. George Springer.
There you go.
Houston and the Rangers. Hunter Pence.
Damn, you're just rolling through this. People forget Hunter Pence played his 2019 with the Rangers.
Now it's going to get tough because now we're on Pittsburgh.
All right.
Pittsburgh and the Rangers. Andrew McCutchen.
If they don't recognize this year, I swear to God.
That's why I said it.
Is that our final guess?
That's my guess.
Okay, we got it.
Ooh.
Pittsburgh and the Blue Jays.
Trying to think of every position possible. Pittsburgh and the Blue Jays. The 40 WAR, too. I was debating on putting Andrew McCutchen in that spot, too, but I don't think he's quite to the 40 WAR.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be there. Where would we?
And I don't think Roberto Clemente is at that either because I don't think he played long enough to get there. Even though Roberto Clemente, Barry Bonds would have been perfect for that one.
Damn.
Oh, man. Hold on. What about Willie Stargell
Okay, we could go.
for the
Is
40
that?
WAR?
All right. There you go. All right, we need a Pirate and a Blue Jay.
I'm pulling this out of left field because I know he played for the Blue Jays. And I'm almost positive he made at least 10 starts with the Pirates. J-Hat.
I think we got this. I think we got this. Final guess?
That's my final guess.
There you go. All right, we took down the grid this
Oh,
week.
look at that. They put J-Hap in a Blue Jay hat, too.
There you go. How dare they have Andrew McCutcheon in the Texas Rangers hat? Come on now.
The Willie Stargell, Barry Bonds one. I could have put either one on either spot because Stargell also played for the Giants.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. We took down the grid this week. Well, alrighty then. Is there anything else we got to bring up tonight, Mr. Reese?
Nope. Next week we'll have a day change. I'll let Sam know the day change tomorrow. We'll coordinate that accordingly. But we'll probably
Yes,
be able to talk some MLB draft next week because the MLB draft is this weekend.
that is true. And of course, we also could do some mid-season awards. Maybe we'll give a little Cubs and Phillies mid-season reports, do some fun stuff like that. But yes, guys, just so everyone is aware, next week is going to be a very hectic, crazy week for 609. Unbiased will be off next week. Birds of the Gridiron will be off next week. Hitting Home will be on a different day. But it's only for next week. We'll be back on your normal scheduled programming the week after. So hang with us for next week. But for this week, we're still the same. And once again, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank you everybody who commented in on the Facebook side. Thank you everybody who commented on the YouTube side tonight. Nat, appreciate you always throwing in your comments, whether they're baseball related or not. I did respect your honesty earlier saying that you quit on baseball after Ohtani went to the Dodgers. George, Orlando, thank you guys for throwing your comments in as well. Fighting Philly as well, throwing all your sarcasm into the chat. Of course, your first comment was Zach Wheeler should be an all-star, and I 100% agree with you. But guys, thank you all for tuning in tonight. We're going to wrap this episode up. Once again, thank you to everybody who commented in. And like we said, next week's going to be a little hectic for us, but we will see you guys next time for some more baseball talk. Have a great last 12 minutes of your Wednesday night, everybody. And we'll see you guys next time. For Dustin Reese, I'm Sam Nelson. Good night, everybody.
The following has been a presentation of 609 Sports Talk Radio.